Walk on, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is.
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking?
Yeah. Happy to be back, man. You know, contrary to popular belief, I don't like leaving the podcast. You know, I don't like when you have to record alone. You know, I mean, technically you went alone, but you know what I mean.
Asas. The people will be the judge of that.
No.
The people, them are the ones that will pass judgment. Mina, I'll just be quiet.
It's forced leave, you know. It's forced leave, forced majeure. So it's not like I just be like, I'm not feeling it. You know, there's a lot going on at the end of the day. And, you know, we, rather than you guys have nothing at all, you know, the good man Senna here makes a plan and says, nah, we'll keep the shit going, you know, so that you guys have something, you know, you have the weights. The 6 foot might not be there, but you have the weight. Yeah, it is what it is. Real quick, you know, before I even get into what I want to get into, welcome back, guys. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tawo.
My name is Senna.
And we're back again. We're back again to do the damn things. First things first, big thank you to Nat for coming through and, you know, being on the pod, being a co-host with Senna. I listened to the episode. It was very... you know, Girl in Skies meets 6 Foot Weight. I think Senna took this as an opportunity to address certain things. So like we have topics that we come, you know, together, be like, alright, cool, we'll talk about this and this, and then depending on how time goes, some things we toss them, other things we talk about them. And what I noticed is that you guys started out on some, I mean, yeah, you guys started out on some wholesome shit, bro. You know, talking about serious things, this and that. And I was just like, damn, you know, it's the toxicity wasn't there, the ratchetness wasn't there. And it made me sit down and reflect. I'm like, am I really the toxic one in this podcast? You know? I was shook, but I said, nah, I can't be. I think Senna was just acting he was just, you know, when I was like, you have to act.
You didn't know. You didn't know what to toxic.
No,
actually,
absolutely not.
The funny thing is, when Nat came through, the first thing she said was, "So I have to be like, you know, ngingene and be like Tabo. So I need to fight my inner toxicity." Which I didn't even have to.
I heard that.
I didn't have to say anything.
I heard
so I'm
that.
like,
I was like, guys, slander ain't gaga. Nah.
How's it slander, dog?
It's slander.
No.
I mean, all I'm saying is, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not the toxic one. I'm the wholesome one. Senna is the corrupt one. You know, Usena was just well behaved over. We had guests in the house. That's it. Like again, everybody knows in your childhood.
What do you mean by
1 minute your mother's beating you and yelling at you? The moment you are the best child in the world. Hi, do Usena phela udlala cricket, uyapasa esikolo. Bambizile phela Highlanders kutaso udlala ibhora. You know all that shit. All this shit that your mother yells at you about. All of a sudden, sungama compliment. You know, so I'm slick, you know. I know what you did. Well done, Mr. Moyo. It was flawless execution.
What I did with what?
Flawless execution from your side. No, I'm hyping you up, fam. I'm hyping you up.
all I know is we have, to address Tabo's thing, we have a list of topics. Tabo always decides to go with the ratchet ones. And then I'm like, all right, when we can be wholesome, let's be wholesome.
No, you know what? Here's the honest truth. When me and you are together, we talk too much. And there's certain things that you want to address that it's just, I know there's no way this is going to be a 5 to 10 minute discussion. That's the problem. So certain things, it's like I have to dedicate the episode to this thing and local, because it's like you can't, certain things that we bring up, we have to talk about it in a way that is, you know, depending on the topic, would have to, you know, do it justice, right? And actually talk isn't sense. So if the momentum is not one of those, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just go from hose to, let's fix the economy. Like it's sometimes, yeah, kunzi. But anyway, because of all the wholesomeness and the isn't this lessons at least kuluma last week, I made sure to bring the most senseless and ratchet topics that I could find on the internet.
Don't say you made sure. Just say that your character determines that.
No, I had to try hard. I had to put away. I wanted us to talk about family planning and how to invest and
I'm
serious. No, I'm actually serious. He's funda, classic. These things. I really wanted to talk about these. Actually, we'll talk about finance and stuff next week. But anyway, whatever. It is what it is. There's certain things that we need to address on today's episode, and we're gonna go into it. However, I wanted to pick up 1 point of order, 2 points of order, Mr. Moy. Number one, that doctor who let everybody catch that nut. That is wild. I didn't know that was I need to go watch the Netflix show because wow.
You hadn't watched it?
No, I haven't seen it. I didn't even know it was there.
Oh, hectic. No, you should go watch it. It's wild. Now, that man was doing the most.
Now imagine, if you're a donor, you and your wife have gone there, and then he impregnates your wife with his seed. Mm-hmm. And then now you're looking at this lady looks nothing like me. Obviously, we'll share, ama lokuzin of your wife. But now, so divorce. Hey, bro, you went and you fucked someone else. It's not my child. I've done a DNA test. Ganti, it's the doctor.
But yeah, well, I guess most of those guys would have known ukuthi their wife went to some sort of fertility don. I guess it's easier to then go to the doctor and be like, "Andy, my guy, why ngani DNA lay I met you? What happened?" If you said, or you might think ukuthi maybe the wife is the one who was playing around. There is a chance that you'll think so.
Maybe she was
for the most part, or something like that, right? But for the most part, I think those people were vindicated in the sense that by everyone who went through literally the same experience, right? Women went to the doctor. Doctor was like, "Hey, listen, we've got a donor, or we can use your items," and then in the process, it decides to father your children without your consent. It is what it is.
Okay, and then second point of order, you fully let Nat come on for an hour and a half, and not once did she share an L. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Guys, Nat has been sharing her L's.
No, Nat has the best. Nat has the best stories. I listened. I was like, I'm waiting for Nat to share a story. There was no story shared. And I think she even hinted at something. I forget what it is, but she hinted at something. I was like, right, Senna's going to, with the right. I see Vulile, nothing. I was like, but guys, no. Nat has the best stories. She's it's a competition between her and Ropa at this point. Right? So anyway, so those are my 2 points of order. But hey, big shout out to Nat. I genuinely do appreciate you coming onto the pod, and yes, you did an absolutely amazing job, fantastic job. Shout out to you as well, Mr. Moyo, for holding it down. Hey,
thanks.
On to this week. What do we have on deck? Right, hella topics. Thing is, when you miss a week, there's things that you just keep. Let's see. Right. I think we can start with the Swedish Don, right? So a girl on Twitter, for anyone who is not aware, there was a girl on Twitter who came and essentially shared her experience. She grew up in Sweden, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I didn't even see the thing. I just saw follow-up tweets.
Okay, so it started off, at least this is where I think it started, but there was a thread on Twitter, and this girl who I'm assuming migrated or whatever grew up in Sweden, but she's not from, at least originally not from Sweden. That's my assumption, right? So the first tweet in the thread says, laughing at Twitter finding out Swedish people will not feed strangers. As a kid growing up here, we knew just to go home around dinner time. On the flip side, my mom would feed Swedish kids though. So what else did she go on to say? Swedes are an antisocial lot. A lot of foul things are just accepted as normal. Not feeding your kids is one of them. I found out the hard way when I came to Sweden at age 11. So yeah, migrated. Went to a friend's house for the first time, and their mom calls them for dinner. Mind you, the friend was at my mom's house. When the friend is at her mom's house, the mother would dish out Gambian food for them as well, which they ate gladly. I trailed behind my friend, heading for the dinner table. The mom sternly told me I was allowed to wait and play with the toys in my friend's room until dinner was done. Let me just say, the Swedes are not well at all. So, anyway, she goes on to how she was petty, and next time the other friend came to our house about Nikamuli. But that's the point. So that's where everything started out from, and everyone is just kind of like, oh my God, this is mad. What's going on? My mind was blown. My cousin actually has a Swedish boyfriend. So I sent her the link to this.
Hectic.
And I'm like, yo, is this true? And then she's like, no, hey, my boyfriend's family, because she's been to Sweden, I think 2 or 3 times already, to visit his family. And she was like, no, they're very sweet. They've welcomed me. Whatever. I don't think this is true. And then she just forwarded to her boyfriend after our conversation. The boyfriend responds. He's like, yeah, babe, actually, this is true. And she was like, oh, shit, this is
hectic.
Mad. Yeah, so she forwarded me the screenshot from him. And I was like, wow, it's actually a thing. It's not, axiomac. But
it's not games.
Your thoughts?
So I came across one where I kind of took the ndaba in the middle. Where people were now talking about it, obviously. And then there were people from Sweden who were saying, oh, yeah, no, this actually happens. And then there was one person who gave a story about how when he or she was visiting a friend's house, it was now time to eat. And then the friend made an excuse, okay, cool, just wait for me, I'm coming now. Went downstairs, ate, and then came back and played. Like it was nothing. And like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to have dinner. I'm coming now. And the funny thing is, there was just so many of these stories where kids were like, no, this used to happen. I'd get there and then I'd play, and then they'd go, or they'd send me home. Like some would explicitly send you home to be like, hey, no, Tina, we're eating now. You can leave. That kind of a thing. And I'm like, yo, that's some rude ass ish. Funny enough,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw another one where apparently it's not limited to that, right? So someone said, as a Swedish child, you are not allowed to use the normal toilet in a friend's house. You had to ask the father in the family for what they call a bast. I don't even know how to say this, but anyways, it's a bucket. Okay. You had to ask for a bucket with a plastic bag over it. Then after you shitted, they tied the bucket and you had to take it home and throw it in your trash.
No way!
So then I go, so obviously I read this, right? And I'm like, nah, this is probably like for bands, right? This person's throwing around. Because obviously the Sweden Gate is trending now, so I'm thinking people are now saying wild things as jokes. So I enter the comments, and then the people like, okay, wait, are you being for real? And then this person says, yeah, as a Swede, it's hard to accept, but we take our sanitation very seriously. So if you take a shit, you gotta deal with it. So yes, this does in fact happen. Mostly in poorer parts of Sweden that doesn't have access to toilets. Apparently it was like the worst thing. There's even like a bucket that you actually buy on something similar to like Takealot or Amazon that you order, and then you'll have it at your house because people don't want to deal with your things.
I mean, if it's a agulama toilet, that's a different. I think that's a different story, right? But like, if it's like, you know, your apartment, my apartment type thing, and I'm like, nah, send that's spaghetti. Like, what if for whatever reason you needed to take a dump, but you're still at my place for another 1 or 2 hours? Then what? Like, are we just gonna chill with, you know, excrement in the apartment? Like, I don't know.
Dog.
This doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Auntie, it's your own rubbish, so you must take it home. We don't know where that issue is coming from. Literally.
Nah, Sweden is wild, you know. Sweden is wild. Wow.
But in their defense, and I hate to be devil's advocates,
Okay.
African households are subtle in this thing, even though they practice it. Where your parents will tell you ukuthi ungadli emzini type of thing.
Yes.
It's actually very similar in effect to being told, hey, ungadli emalayinini, awukwazi ukuthi kudliwani, or you're inconveniencing the other family. For whatever reason that your family or your parents told you not to do that, best believe ukuthi it's linked in similarity to the reason is very, very linked to similarity to why the Sweden people do it. Except they're very outward and probably unashamed about it.
It's rude, and I think at the end of the day, if I came to your house, right, and your mother dishes food, she's definitely going to offer me the food. Definitely going to. Whether or not I accept, that's a different story. But your mom is going to make sure that, hey, Tabo, we're having dinner now, you're still here, we've made a plate. Not even, do you want food? It's, hey, we've made a plate, shalapans ul. That's a fact, right? And then obviously, like you said, my mom would be like, yeah, I know you're going to send us place, but which we've spoken about this before. It was the most messed up thing in the world. How do I explain?
Put you in a very difficult position.
You know, yeah, because you're like literally your mom is literally it has become my mom when I'm at your place. She's responsible for me, so I cannot then just, I'm hungry, first of all. I want to eat the food. And then I now have to look your mother in the face and be like, no, Musuti. Like, I'm literally put in a position where I have to lie to your mother and say, no, I don't want it. But deep down, I actually do want it. I don't see any problem with all of this. So I think it's different in the sense that, okay, fine. I still need to have a conversation with my parents. Be like, how did that work? Where you tell me, but then you guys offer food to guests? That makes no sense. That's so contradictory. I think maybe that's what you're trying to get at in terms of
no. I'm saying the bottom line is the same, right? So they don't want you. Why would you think your parents wouldn't want you eating a melanin? One, they don't want you to inconvenience the other family. Two, the other reason might be you don't know what it is that people are eating, how they're preparing the food, blah 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 blah. So those were the main reasons, right? Yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, fine, let's look at the people from Sweden. Why don't they want people to eat at their homes? One, because you're not counted in their budget, right? You're not. And two, if say Tabo's allergic to whatever, they don't want to be responsible for whatever happens to you. So I think the reasons, you'll find that they're very similar. They're just very outward and rude with it. Maybe not.
Yeah, but what's the likelihood of people who have food allergies? At the end of the day, one, you'll know it, and okay, fine. Let's assume we're dealing with abo grade 5, right? Type of thing. Who might not necessarily know these things. At the end of the day, you should still be offering a child something. There's no way. Imagine, bro, 11 years old. 11 years old.
No.
And they're playing with your friend, and then the mom goes, yeah, no, I'm going to the bedroom. You know, this mac and cheese, you know, like that's a lot, bro.
No, it is a lot, but that's what I'm saying. Guti, their reasons for doing it are very similar to why our parents didn't want us to eat emalainin, right? Because we are inconveniencing abanye abantu, or you just don't know how they're making the food. right? So I assume it was mostly those two reasons.
But do you agree that it's better when it comes from the guest refusing to eat rather than the host refusing to feed the guest, right?
Oh no, 100%, 100%. And that's why I say, Guti, they are rude with it, right? Because now you're playing Nomtana Bantu, and then Umuntu decides, Guti, and they're now going as a family to eat. When are you staying?
That's just cold. Some cold.
You're
cold
staying
shit,
wherever
man.
it is playing.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh yeah. So it's actually, since we're dealing with semi wholesome shit. I'm trying to look for where I shared this. I'm gonna play it out loud. I thought I forgot to share it with you earlier, but I was watching a clip of Rick Ross talking about how, again, I don't. It's just a clip, so I don't have the whole context of the conversation. But what he mentioned was, I guess, on the way on the come up to him being successful, and always knowing that he had to grind. So I'm gonna play this out loud. Hopefully you can hear it. Let me know if you can't. Okay, let's try this. Volume.
To work at a car wash, I made $30 a day from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. So they basically let you know you got to live off your tips. So you got to really go hard. And so I used to let them know I'd do anything for you. I wash the car. If you leave me $20, I'll fill your tank up. If you left me with enough time, I'll put your cassettes in alphabetical order. Whatever it is, I think that may be the small difference between the ones who really go get it and the ones who just talking. I used to work at a car wash.
So, again, you heard the clip, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it's a pretty straightforward clip. Rick Ross sharing his experiences when he used to work at a car wash, right, when he was younger. And it got me thinking how, as a society, we really glorify going above and beyond for one's employer, right? Even in my office, right? There's always an above and beyond award. This is for the employee who went beyond the call of duty. Those type of awards, right? Always there.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrate these individuals, and I started thinking, is that something that really makes sense at the end of the day? Let's assume it's so. In Rick Ross's case, he went above and beyond because there was financial incentives, right? He got more tips.
Mm-hmm.
He made a bit more off of the base salary that he was getting per hour. So that one makes sense, right? But I wanted to just talk about, like, in general. Let's say your job is whatever, send as a lawyer. Let's assume there's no bonuses attached to everything, right? Your base is your base. Salary is what you take home Monday to Friday. January to December, change, right? Besides maybe a salary increment at the end of the year. And Senna's just doing the most, going above and beyond for his job. Obviously, employers like that when you do that, and they celebrate that. But is that? I'm just struggling to find the right way to ask this question. But are you in support of that being an agenda pushed specifically by an employer and
No,
I
I'm
guess
not.
society at large?
No, I'm not. I've never actually ever been a fan of this whole employee of the month thing, which isn't identified, or it doesn't come with a corresponding salary increase, right? I've always thought that's to avoid Twitter lingo, but problematic, right? Because it's like, we appreciate that you're doing the most. We appreciate that probably sales and profit margins are higher because of your effort, and we see that you're trying really hard. Maybe if there's no financial incentive, nah, bruh, keep it. If there's no financial incentive or something which makes my life outside of this environment easier, then keep it. Because I walk into McDonald's sometimes, and then there's a picture of some random staff member, employee of the month. I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder how that person's doing, despite their great service. They get a promotion. Maybe they will get a promotion. If that's the case and you're aiming for a promotion, then sharp, go for it. I am happy to co-sign it for employers who do that. But for people who just do it for the sake of Uguti, it's there. Nah, I'm not a fan. I'm not.
And employers, they where they get sneaky, right, is that they love to emphasize, especially when it's not tied to any benefit. Wow, look at Senna, like it has no monetary benefit or whatever benefit towards him and his life and his career. But Senna's the first one in the meetings, last one out. He's really going to town for all of his clients and A, B, C, D. All we have is just nice words about Senna. I think, and I agree with you completely, Uti. That to me is where I feel a little bit uneasy, because I'm like, nah, fam, it shouldn't be like that. Because effectively you're taking advantage of that individual, right? And I believe hard work should always be rewarded. I believe in competition. If Senna's crushing all the other lawyers at his company, right, and he's bringing in clients and ABCD, Senna should be the highest paid, or should be getting the most benefits and all this other stuff that is additive to your career, whether it promotions, whatever the case is, right? That I'm fine with, because it's like, okay, you're really good at what you do and you're willing, if you go the extra mile, then sharp, you will see more benefits, financial or otherwise. But there has to be something in it for you at the end of the day, because at that point, it's giving plantation, is it?
No, it is.
It really is.
So during articles, and anyone who ever has what I'll call the privilege to do articles, it's a privilege only in the sense of which competition is tight and getting a placement is hard. But if you ever had the privilege to do an article, what usually happens is, so that stuff, that part on Suits where there's the bullpen and all these guys are working hard and they're putting in hours and they're doing the most. That part of legal practice actually happens, right? So especially during your training years, you are expected to go above and beyond so that you can be recognized, so that you can get so that you can be retained, so that you can get like a proper salary and you stay in and you become partner or associate, whatever it is. That culture exists in law firms, what we call the kiss ass culture, right? So you have to kiss a lot of ass to get ahead, right? So yes. I've always felt uncomfortable with that sometimes, because it's like, guys, just let my ability speak. If my ability doesn't speak, then sharp. You can't measure it by how many times I asked you if you want a coffee whenever I went downstairs, or because there's firms that do that, right? Where it's like, oh no, so by the time I get in, my coffee must be on my desk, or when you see me, you must just know what I need, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. I'm like, no, my guy, like,
did you go do this?
Fortunately, I didn't. All the environments I worked at were great in terms of how people were treated, right? So it's not slave mentality, but you do have the odd lawyer who'll say, yeah guys, it's very important that you skip your lunch and then you work through it so that you can show that you're committed. It's the only way like we can recognize you and show that you're hardworking. Like, no, unless you're paying me overtime, can I take my lunch, right? Because ultimately it's not abuse, right? You're not abusing the person.
And that's low key like lazy on the employer's part. If it takes someone going above and beyond for you to know whether or not umuntu law has it, I think that's a reflection on the employer being negligent. Because if all of us clocked in at 9 and left at 5, and you're telling me you can't tell who are the kick-ass lawyers and who are the time wasters, that's a problem.
So a problem either with bargaining power, right? So, for example, right, there's what we call the big 5 law firms in South Africa, right? So it's I think CDH, ENS, Weber Wenzel, a couple others, Norton Rose. I'm not sure if Norton Rose is still there, but there's like the ones that we recognize as big. They each probably take about 30 lawyers each from each of the big universities, right? So by big universities,
With
I'm
30
talking
lawyers total.
for training for articles. Yeah. Yeah. So each
So are
firm
you
will take about
saying
30
like
lawyers.
Wits, UCT, all those schools combined, X company will only take 30?
Yeah, of the best.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'll take 30. The other guys will also take like 30, and the other guys will take 30. So it creates. And that time in maybe when you were in final year, there were 100 of you in final year in your class. So from a numbers perspective, you're screwed, right? Because
Yeah.
there's very few of you that can get placed at these firms. And what they do is they drum it in you to you're a privileged few selected. What it creates is an environment where you're just lucky to be here and you're willing to take any form of crap
because it's a privilege.
Yeah, because it's a privilege. Because Tina, we could have hired XYZ other guys, and when you're just lucky to be the chosen one. And that's where I feel the difficulty becomes, where people start then becoming glorified tea girls and coffee ladies and whatever.
Yeah.
And you start fetching someone's laundry from the laundromat. That stuff happens, dog. It happens.
That's mad. If you're one of these people, please add us or DM us. Tell us a story. I'm really curious, like how crazy shit has gotten for people just for a little recognition.
No, it's not. It may not even just be law firms, right? So I'm sure accounting firms, auditing, people doing articles,
investment firms.
They go
Abo
through the most.
KPMG,
Investment firms,
Abo PwC.
Exactly.
Standard.
Now
It's a very toxic culture.
No. So we could have selected other guys. You guys are the lucky few who were chosen. Lucky few. Okay, whatever. And that's how you get yourself into that weird cycle of doing things that don't exactly reward you just because you're impressed.
Yeah, I mean, even my cousin, when I was talking to my cousin, the same cousin I mentioned earlier, she was telling me Uti, she is doing her articles at KPMG at the moment, and she's an auditor and all of that, and like she obviously it's great on your CV that hey I did my articles at KPMG, but she said hella niggas are leaving. Like really, it's an exodus. People are done with that shit.
Oh yeah, that
and I was like, why? She was like, nah, brother, the culture is toxic. People are overworked and tibule favoritism. And people are just leaving. And I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm not surprised because what I've been told about the big four, right? The big four consulting firms is that they criminally underpay because it's the privilege of putting KPMG on your CV, right? And because you're putting KPMG on your CV, we can pay you less because it's going to lead you your next job that you get after KPMG. Those guys are going to pay you what you're worth. So it's like not even dream gig. It's just in terms of financially, those are the guys who are going to compensate you. Tina, if Senna was meant to be making, I don't know, R1 million a year at this point in his life, we're gonna pay Senna 600,000 a year. But then we know what is Senna's next gig will then pay him the million he deserves. So which is fact. It's like, no, pay me if I'm worth $1 million, pay me my $1 million now. Don't tell me what your name is going to take me. Yes, okay, fine. I will get a job based on the fact that I worked at KPMG or PwC or Boston Consulting Group. But like, to me, I have very, very, very big problems with that. Which is why, like, when I talk to my friends who work for the smaller consulting firms or investment banks, like the boutique ones, right? Yeah, it's such a better experience. One, you get paid. Two, you're respected. Like it's a proper workplace culture where with the 20 lape office, and everybody works hard and ABCD and bonuses and all this other stuff. Whereas like this,
you're together.
Some of these companies, especially the big name companies, like the horror stories. There's a mutual friend of ours, worked for one of the biggest firms in the world, biggest firms, biggest names. and the way he was before, when we knew him before starting at this company versus afterwards, man changed. The company changed him, and it's not even his fault, because he did what he had to do to survive,
Yeah.
And
one of the
that's
one
not
of the
right.
one of the shitty things. So, like I said, I fortunately haven't had to go through any of that during articles. If I ever worked late, it was literally just because there was something weird happening and I had to work late, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like we got paid overtime, but it's not like I'd be like it was required. But I remember during articles I'd be leaving work at 5, 6, the normal times, and then I'd have a friend of mine who'd be like, literally, no lie, how come you leave so early? I'm like, dude, what do you mean? How come I leave so early?
Yeah.
And he went on about how, no, for them, he worked in one of the big ones in Santon. I want to know, leaving before 9 p.m. is a luxury, right? It's glorified. You must be in there until the partner that you work for leaves. So you'd always feel bad for leaving before the person you're working for goes, and I'd always feel awkward about that, right? So most of the time, then I'd look at my work environment and be like, okay, so am I supposed to stay and wait for this one to go? What must happen? Even if I don't have any, so even if I didn't have anything, I'd just be like chilling, just waiting, like, okay, let me just wait just until that kind of a thing. So unfortunately, that was their experience, and they were like, no, Tina, we leave 9, 10, just because it's just the culture, right? We must work hard. I'm like, no, it's not. And I was gonna come, how I feel about motivational speakers, anyways. I thought actually when you started talking about the Rick Ross thing, I'm like, this year is going to go in the direction that Thabo likes to go.
What do you mean the direction I like to go? That's not me. Senna, stop.
No sleep.
Wait, hold on.
Do
you believe that I'm that guy?
No, but you like people that like these things.
Nah. See, you look for any opportunity to slander this whole Vusi thing. This me and Vusi thing. Anytime you look. Because you're subbing, is it? Hey, don't talk through the corner. Talk to me direct.
There could be other motivational speakers that you like when I tell, right? My chat is oftentimes, right, the glorifying the grind. Even these partners who will say, no, when I was doing articles, I used to stay here till 10 so that I could get to where I am. Totally, you know what happened is they just had a boss who recognized their talent and said, you can be partner.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, but I had to work hard, I had to grind. Or Toluguti, your dad went to school with the partner that you work for, and so he put in a good word, and now you're name partner. Right?
Yeah.
Those slices of marketing that people don't tell us.
Yeah.
So before you work yourself to the ground, just
be smart.
Think about it.
Which is why the beautiful thing about being lazy, right? I think I identify as lazy. My job is the type of job where it just never ends. You just stop working, right? Like there's no such thing as there's nothing for me to do. There's always something to do, right? You choose, right? I'm going home, right? And what happens? Oh wow, I literally lost my train of thought with this one. But okay, yeah. Anyway, so I think
your job doesn't stop. You'd never not.
Yeah,
have
no,
anything
it doesn't.
to do.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where you really could. If I wanted to, I could stay until midnight working, right? And I still wouldn't be done if I worked 24 hours straight. And when I first joined my company, it used to be kind of shades of that thing. Wuti, I had one of my colleagues. When you're new, you kind of bond and you speak to one person, you know, more than like anyone else. And he was like, dude, because it was like I'd finish at 7, and then maybe 6:55 same glitchy compute type of thing. I think I did that on the first day or second day, and he was like, dude, like I was like, what? It's like, I want glitchy, like just yenza something. And I was like, why? It's like, nah, you shouldn't be. It's not a good look for you to be the first one out of the office. And I was like, dude,
why?
It's literally just child parts. It's like, no. And I was like, obviously, I was like, okay, thanks for the tip. And from then onwards, for the longest time, I would literally, you know, even though I've mentally checked out by like 6, right? But then, so with Figu 7, I'd just be staring at a screen. There's work on my screen, but I'm just staring. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, you're
and
out.
Then I'd get up and leave. Yeah, I'd get up and leave the office. I think anytime between 5 past and 7. That's when I'd actually get up, start packing, and leave. And it was the thing. The whole office, no one ever stood up at 7 on the dot. People started moving around at about 6 past 7. Right, that's where the first person would get up, pack up, and leave. And then obviously over the last couple of years, it's transformed. Now where, you know, I see someone leaving 5 minutes early and all this, like it's a much different atmosphere now, you know. But I just thought about
what changed. If you don't mind me asking.
We had a change in terms of top management. So we've gone through two different heads. You know, people have been promoted, people have left, and all that other shit. So it's the whole thing, and I think there was a conscious movement for people to be lighter and more energetic. I think that's the best way to put it. So that was something that was consciously worked on, whether it's people playing games in the office and, you know, stuff like that. So I think we're in a much better space mentally, and it's also, the funny thing it is correlated with unmitigated success for the company. The numbers are fantastic, you know. I think it's something that exactly. People, the better the working environment, the harder people will work. It's such a simple thing, but some of these other companies, they take the piss because they know what's in a guy down, you know, and he this is what he's dreamed of. He wants to work for this law firm guy down, so we're gonna make his work hours outrageous and all this other shit. And it's like, nah, but to kind of wrap this thing up, if there's one generation that I believe in, I'm at 2K. I think I'm at 2K are well on their way to destroying all of this shit, man. Like, I look at some of the things. There's this, I think if I can, I'll plug one of his TikToks. This guy that I'll see some of his TikToks, he basically does spoofs on, you know, that stereotypical corporate company. You could say, hey Andre, I know it's 5 p.m. and you're supposed to be leaving, but I was hoping you could look at this. And then he'd be like, nah, I'm not looking at this because, again, it's outside my working hours. So like, he does lots of TikToks like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is a lot of, you know, I can imagine Ubusang will be like, ah, you're mad. I'm going home. Of course. Whereas me and you might just be like, okay, fine, you know what,
I'll do it.
What I lit, you know, right? But Ubusang, Lindo, I think they're the type of guys who just be like, bruh, I'll see you tomorrow. And you need more of those people together in order for there to be change. If it's a lone gunman, that lone gunman gets fired. But if it's the whole firm, you can't fire the whole firm. You know?
But you no lie, as Zimbabweans in general, and I've noticed this. We are hard workers. I think if there's one thing you can't take away from us, hard work hard, impress. I think that's why. And to be honest, one of the biggest misconceptions, and I wanted to probably make this point last week with Nata, just didn't get the chance to, is there's this misconception in which Zimbabweans are smarter than South Africans, right? And I think you see that being thrown around a lot. With employers.
Well,
no, to be honest, I don't think that's the case.
Make your point, but
let me actually make it.
Okay.
Having studied here, I can tell you now that what there's two things where people think we're smarter. One, obviously we're not exporting the worst of the dunderheads in Zim, right? Most of the time, a country exports its best, right? The top brands, right? That's why when you have people who are, like when the Chinese export, right? When people move from China to the US, it's going to be the smarter Chinese, right? America is not taking just about anyone, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that gives the perception of what you were smarter. The South African education system, in as much as it's not great, doesn't mean that people aren't smart. I just need to make that point. In as much as it's, they have a 30% pass rate, most of the kids who make it to university are very competent and are found that they're extremely intelligent, right?
Yes, I can agree with that.
What? So then I think those factors combined, us sending out our best to compete with all South Africans, it's given the perception of which we are indeed smarter as a nation, right? Which isn't always the case. And then when employers want to hire Zimbabweans over South Africans, they'll say, I know Zimbabweans are smarter and whatever. When they know, it's not because it's just that we're smarter. We're just more hardworking. And we're willing for those peanuts, because I know in Zim, someone who gave me 15,000 Rand is pretty decent. Lapa, if I can get it and all the guy wants me to do is work 3 hours overtime, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think as a country also, that's just who we are. I don't think we're as intelligent as people would have you believe. I think we're the same, if not actually, we may have gone below par over the years.
I think so. So the only point that I would make, I think I agree with 90% of what you said, right? The only thing that I think does have value is, when I was even thinking about this in different walks of life, right? Why is it always, the best players, the concentration of best players in the league, in the NBA, right? Or best players in football, right? What's their life story? Hey, I grew up in Togo. My family was poor as fuck. We moved to France. Now, singing Uzbanibat, right? Making 300,000 pounds a week, right? We hear so many of these stories because, again, if you've had to go through adversity from a very, very young age, and a lot of Zimbabweans have, been given a baptism of fire, where when you get to a South Africa, when you get to an America, you get to a UK, it's like, oh shit, there's resources. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, there's opportunities. And those people, obviously, there will be a higher rate of Zimbabweans succeeding in SA than South Africans succeeding in SA because, uvelempini, you know what I mean? Where you're coming from is peak over there, right? And I think there is value in that. And an employer can see with, okay, I would sooner take, and again, if you're building a sports team in basketball, the teams that typically win are the teams that have a good veteran presence because veterans have seen it all, done it all, right? Whereas the young superstars or the young rookies with potential, it could be a hit, but it also could be a miss. And, they could get on the stage with the bright lights and they're like, hey, yeah, no. But with a veteran, solid performance la. We're not, I'm not wavering in this thing. And I think that's where the value, some people might value that, but absolutely, I believe I know, plenty of South Africans who are intelligent, like, bro, this person is brilliant, but I think that's more on and I think every country around the world has the same normal distribution of your super intelligent guys, your average guys, and then your dunderheads. I think every country has the same normal distribution, right? By percentages. But you're just going to run into more of them in SA because one, it's a larger population, and two, the opportunities are there. And obviously for anyone, if it's easy for me to get a job, right, then Kati, what am I jumping over mountains for? You know what I mean? If I don't need to jump over the mountains, why would I? Tina, we didn't have the luxury of that choice. We had to jump. If you wanted to eat, you had to make a plan. That's just how it is. And then it's unfair sometimes. And I see exactly what you're saying, Wutukona. Yeah, because people are willing to work harder, you do look better. And that's just what it is sometimes.
No, yeah. No, I hear you.
Anyway, moving on. See, this is why I say when we talk about this is Swagala. It takes bells, dog. It takes bells. But real quick, palate cleanser. Did you see? Yeah, I think you saw it. I posted it in the group. That ISM advertisement with the meal.
Oh yeah, I saw it. The meal. Do you know what, right? This is very consistent with. There's something else that I saw this week, which also I was very disappointed. I think as our leaders are a bit tone deaf to anything else happening around the world, and standards elsewhere around the world. I'm not sure they are aware of some of the things that other countries are able to do and that they're doing, and where everyone else kind of is in relation to some things. Nothing made it more evident than two things this week. The first was that ISM thing. The second was the Fenty launch. nothing. Those two things alone, it made me convinced Ukuthi as a country. Angifuni ukungasho, guys, but I think our leaders. Someone needs to give these people their Instagram logins just so that they are aware of standards and expectations in other countries, right? It's not Chimurenga anymore. We've moved past the Hondo.
Oh my
right?
God. Oh, I didn't expect that fetish.
Having an airline that serves decent food is not a flex.
Bruh.
Now, having an airline that serves
decent.
that's what I was saying. Uguti, having an airline that serves decent food is not a flex in itself, right?
It's
like sometimes I'll no lie, when I was home for your wedding, I came with the Airlink, and they had those chicken mayo and those sandwiches.
Bruh, Airlinks should always be looking fancy. But what am I eating?
No, it was literally just sandwiches, right? Of which for me, it wasn't anything to write home about to say, hey Yazi, I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
To an extent where when I was coming back, right? Because I took Airlink from Blues to Joburg and then British Airways from Joburg to Cape Town. And British Airways gives you food. To an extent where I was like, I know, as a sandwich day, let me just take it and put it in my bag and zaidla phambili if I do. Right? It's nothing to flex about. Now, when you're going to post, this is how tone deaf these guys are to standards everywhere else. They took a picture of that, and I can tell the admin, he got on as what as namhlanje ngizabatshengisa toba mamisa
felt cute might delete later.
Felt cute will not delete. This guy probably, I can bet you, he's like, namhlanje ngizabatshengisa, and then he took the picture, posted it. A happy Monday morning to you, kaka. Siyabangena, right? They probably didn't anticipate the negative reaction.
Nah, they have to have. No, I think it was trolling.
It wasn't trolling.
Personally, that's my opinion.
It wasn't trolling.
They have to be trolling.
I can tell you why it wasn't trolling. Because of what we saw earlier on in the week at the Rihanna Fenty launch, where comrades were there. I'm not sure. How's it getting me angry?
The comrades!
Getting me upset. Dude, I was upset. No, I'm not a baddie. I don't use Fenty. But, there's certain things I've come to expect. Where it's like a fashion launch, you know what you expect. Like I know in SA, when it's being launched, I know I'll probably see like your YouTubers and your IG baddies and maybe Bonang or Mini Lamini or whoever. There within, and or even models, right? Or it might just be models that we don't know, talented, or people who are in the beauty industry doing these things, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain standard which I think has been adopted internationally, right? And I'm seeing Monica, I don't know what she is in ZANU-PF for what she does, but when I saw the comrades there, I was like, what is this? The world's going this way, Tina. We're going.
They couldn't round up the baddies, bro. They couldn't even round up the baddies. Because the baddies are napping the knees. They're there.
No, they're there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They are there. See, you're getting me upset.
I think as a nation, we took the L, bro. That I think, Kandora needs to release a special just talking about that. Because that honestly, I saw that and I was like, okay.
So
no,
maybe
man,
maybe we've gone far. For those who are maybe in South Africa, South African who were listening, Zimbabwe. So Fenty's been launched everywhere not everywhere, but in some countries in Africa.
I think it was like 6
Yeah,
countries.
so Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Nigeria, Namibia, and another one. I forget the other one. And South Africa. Sorry, and South Africa.
Zambia
and South Africa. So in every other country, there were models, there were baddies, there were influencers.
The Stoko showed up, bro.
Beauticians who were there launching the Fenty products. In Zimbabwe, we had similar to your ANC comrades. So imagine Kwete Mantashe or like Vatabile Dlamini. Fenty's being launched in SA, and you've got Mambata, right? She's there with a pusa face, and she's like, right, guys, it's the Fenty beauty launch. It can't go on. It can't go on. And look, I'm not saying Oguti, but I just think there's certain things where the world is going this way, and as a country, I think we're still stuck in liberation movement tendencies.
No, I think, I don't know. It just getting frustrated. I mean, I even pulled up the image now of what the ASM guys posted. And, first of all, if you look at the bottom, typically when you bake and there's a difference, the upper half is looking a lot lighter and then the lower half is darker. Typically, kekelena levutwang. So,
I wasn't even mad at the cake.
I mean, I wasn't, because that wasn't the worst thing. That's me being,
the worst thing was that
the least annoying.
That
Damatisi.
That Damatisi. That
a whole tomato, guys. Not even a slice.
It's
an
not
uncut
sliced.
tomato.
It's just there.
A boiled piece of meat. There was someone in the comments where they're like, bro, is that a boiled piece of meat? And a tomato.
It's a boiled piece
in the
of meat.
Is like, yeah, antibafunga ukuqedise phambili so kuyenza isuphu xhwathile.
So there's the whole tomato,
offensive.
and then there's this it looks like a steak. It looks bland. It looks like it was boiled with no seasoning, nothing.
I saw that and I was like, this is why Senna hates food.
I'm always saying this. Then you guys are like, yeah, no siyazama, no impita too. Like nako, national airline, esithembileyo.
I mean, I don't know. The national airline is Zimbabwe Airlink, guys. As far as I'm concerned, y'all never catch me in another airline flying from wherever to Zim. Never, ever. Airlink goes to Mies, goes to Vic Falls, goes to Skies.
And you might find, Oguti,
I will pay the extra
You
dollar.
might find, Oguti, this wasn't just like a passenger airline. This was where the top dogs were sitting. And they were also like, yeah.
Check. No. I know my government. My government do never settle for this. This is for the people.
Sure. No, but
I'm telling
remember
you,
the point I've been trying to
way.
make since we started talking about this is, Oguti, these guys seem unaware of standards elsewhere in the world. Like I don't think they get it. Oguti. Like I look at when we started getting internet on our cell phones.
Yeah.
And they heralded it like it was this big thing. I remember I was in high school. And they were coming on like, yeah, we're doing the most. This is a big thing. I'm like, bro, people in SA have been getting internet on their phones for the last 10 years.
Have been on mixing.
People have been, like, people have been doing all these things. By the time, because obviously you might only have been able to get on Facebook on like your PC. That was probably Form 2 or Form 1 or something. We all had phones which had internet access, but internet would never work unless you're out of the country. And then when it
The
finally
internet was on
happened,
E, dog.
bruh. But anyways, yeah. I think we just need to be aware of where the world is, where the world is going.
Yeah.
Our leaders, that is. I think as a people, I think as a people we're fine. Our leadership just needs to see, but some of these things aren't actually a flex, right? You know, you build a road, it's not a flex. You expect it to build a road. It's not something to write home about.
See,
there's no potholes. Celebrate.
Like,
we must
bruh.
now pop champagne because there's
Bruh.
no potholes. No, it's an expectation everywhere.
This
as
is
well.
where we now do the most in other countries, and people now hate us. With the salary comes in every day. Salary puzzle, bro. Ever since I left me, never, ever had a salary puzzle on time, bruh. On time, always. Miss.
Tabo, you're getting me upset. Let's quote you about these things.
Okay.
That happened this week. It just reminded
So
me.
I'm gonna jump into one more L. As a country. This one is an unproven. I don't know how legitimate this is, but hey, it's making the rounds, and you know it's legit when your mother posts in the WhatsApp group and says, "Guys, is this legit?" So now, if it's gotten to mom Twitter and mom WhatsApp, it's a problem. What's your position on the latest cryptocurrency?
The latest. So Martin, because I don't think I caught that one.
Apparently, and I'm just scrolling to the family group because there was an article that my mom screenshotted, or she forwarded from someone else. Of course, she forwarded from someone else. Forwarded many times. Shocking. Zimbabwe citizens start selling their toes due to the high cost of living. In Zimbabwe, people have started selling their toes for thousands of dollars. This is due to the high cost of living and the failure of the government to create jobs. Toes are being bought for $40,000. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. You know,
$40,000.
$40,000 is not bad at all.
So let me see how much.
You know, ungatengisa wonke. That's what, 400,000.
No,
that's
it's
not
about
bad.
600,000 rands, which is
No, it's $400,000, is it?
400,000. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I just said one, right? So if I'm selling one, $40,000 give me 600,000 rands for a toe.
But ungatengisa, I think it's worth it. Ungatengisa wonke. Can you walk with no toes?
You'd walk, but you'd have a limp. You wouldn't have balance, dog.
Yeah, I think Tengsa 10. I think it doesn't make sense with Tengsa 1. That's an inconvenience.
What do you
but
mean?
Maybe this
Like
is me
selling
speaking from privilege.
One is an inconvenience, but 10 is not.
No. What I'm saying is 10 makes it worth it because that's $400,000 US.
Yeah, but then you lose your ability to walk properly.
Yeah, you lose your ability to walk properly, but that's life-changing money now for someone living in Zim. Ungayenza sharp, you know, you can start a business and it runs itself, and then you will be able to afford some sort of surgery where you get metal toes or something, you know. It's possible. I think if there's podcast listeners, Tengsa wonke, you know, tell them up front, I'm willing to get rid of all 10.
About
Because I feel
6
like
million
that
rand.
if you get rid of one, that's 40,000 rand. I'm sorry, that's $40,000, which is a very spendable amount of money. It's very spendable. Ungayenzanga anything significant, even in Zim, with the cost of Zim of life in Zim the way that it is. If someone were to sell their toe and get $40,000, how long do you think that money is lasting for the average Zimbabwean?
For the average Zimbo, it's lasting, I guess.
Nah, I think it'll shoot maybe 1 or 2 years, because if 1 year at the most, even because again, the reason you sell it is because you're trying to change your life circumstances. So as you're trying to change the circumstances of your life and your family, you're gonna spend more money. You know, it's economics. The more you make, the more your expenses. Your life doesn't stay the same. So unless you're saying, hey, I'm selling Uzwane, but also it wouldn't make sense if you're selling Uzwane to live the same life. You see what I mean? And just have your savings of 40K in the bank, right? So if you were spending maybe $10,000 a year, you're going to spend more because now you have more income. All of a sudden you get that itch. No, hey, this bed I've been sleeping on is so uncomfortable. It's just a new bed is just $1,000. Now we're at 39. Actually, I can put down a mortgage on a house. Going. Like, all of a sudden things change. Hey, Ukoko needs medication or needs an operation. 10 dinner gone. Now you're 29 or 30, whatever it is. Like, the money would go. Yeah, I think if within a year, bro, 40,000 is not.
Yeah, pale. But you see, Tabo, now you don't have that big.
It's a lot, but
I
it's
think
not.
you underestimate how important your toes are in your everyday life.
Which is why I said sell all of them.
Hi.
400,000?
Like,
400,000.
sell a pinky toe here, pinky toe in my left. I'm good. Think right. That's 80,000 USD. I think I can live my life properly and still have enough to change certain things.
But Senna, within 5 years, you won't even caca what you did with that money.
Within 5 years.
But you're toeless.
I have to be toeless though. To be toeless.
So are you pro Ukumuzwan? I mean, it's better than South Africans lenyoka, I think.
Give me a snake any day, bro.
This one.
Give me a snake.
No, that snake,
give me a snake.
That snake shit is dark.
Give me a snake. Are you telling me you'd rather cut your toes off than just live with a pet snake?
No.
It's yours.
What I'm saying is, I'm here for the whole. Hey, I cut off a toe and I get money. This Nyoga Adam, we don't even know if it works. This could just be rumors. But here we're talking about 40,000 Joe Bidens. Like it's hard cash. The Nyoga thing, we don't know, bro. We don't know. How many people do you think in SA right now have snakes in their households and still broke as fuck?
A lot. But then, so here's this book that I need you to read. It's called The Wrath of the Ancestors. It's a crazy ass story about how this guy met this girl when they went to Lovedale. I think it's a school in the Eastern Cape. Walter Sisulu and Mandela and all those guys, and Gabe even went there, I think. So it's the school in the Eastern Cape. They meet there. They're like modern, but the guy is like a chief in his village. So after they finish school, the guy says to his girlfriend, let's move back because I have to take the throne. So they leave their modern life. And they go back to the rurals, and he goes back with his car to live with the rural people to take a place in the family. Right? So a year later, woman gives birth to a child, and she comes outside the one day, and there is a snake that's wrapped itself around the child. Right?
Yo.
Woman freaks out because she's from town, right? She's like, can't be. She might even be a baddie, who knows? And she kills the snake. Right? Kills the snake. Abadala come and they're like, chief, this is our family snake. This is our ancestor. The snake wrapping itself around the child is proof of Uguti. It accepts the child and it's welcoming and it acknowledges the child as an heir to the throne and as part of the family. I'm like, hectic. Anyway, just a random thought that just crossed through my mind.
Nah, that's a lot.
But you should.
That's a lot. I mean, I'll look it up.
Wrath of the Ancestors is really good.
Look it up.
But snakes aren't that bad, I think, if they're harmless and they serve a good purpose. Why not? I'd rather that than lose my toes.
Okay. I'll send this clip to your dad. I'm sitting on this yoga. Just watch him. Might need to send you back to him in an essay too long. Right. I think we can transition into we've transitioned into the rundown. And we haven't done this part of the show in a very, very long time. But there's quite a few things that we need to address which are ridiculous. And we're just gonna give some quick takes on it until the end of the show. So in the group chat, apparently, and I'm sure you can guess who found this information. Kutwa, a combination that is a thing in Zim right now, food combination, is for potato salad, switching out the potato for sweet potato. That's nasty. That is disgusting.
Hold on.
Everything else stays. The mayo, I'm assuming everything else stays. The mayo, the whatever. If you put peas, you know, all the other
There's
extra
a friend of mine
stuff.
who likes experimenting with food. I feel like asking her if she'd do this.
That's no, guys. Zimbabweans.
Man, they got 2 seconds. Yeah, good.
Mtuloga ko serious. I'm not cutting this out. I hope this guy knows. Anyway, Njani Bantu, as we wait for Senna to do the recon, how you up doing? What are you up to? Listen to this podcast. What are you doing right now? Addison, let us know.
Okay, I come back. No, it's nasty. Apparently,
It's
no,
nasty?
it's nasty. That's just like a nasty thing,
Okay.
which no one should attempt. And I agree. I just had to check first. Uguti, I'm not the only one who considers it weird. But no, dog.
Nah,
like
nasty.
mayonnaise with sweet potato just doesn't sound okay.
No, at all. At all. In Bambaila, guys.
Wait, side note, how do you feel about sweet potato?
Let us know, Addison, let us know.
How do you feel about sweet potato as like a starch, like a proper starch? Because this one day, I told my aunt to go I'm having sweet potato with steak, and she literally flipped. Watimbambail. That's where I realized Uguti,
Love it.
as Zimbabweans,
Love it,
we
love it,
still
love
have
it,
a
love
way to go with food. My aunt literally freaked, and she's
No,
like,
because probably your aunt thought of the Mbambaila, you know, that you know the Mbambaila I'm talking about. Straight from Matopo, Adam. That one.
that one, you get by it, you boil it, you put it on the plate, and then you
Exactly.
eat it with tea or whatever.
No, putting that one next to a steak, I might look at you.
No, man, like it's
If you put in that one next to the steak,
it's well prepared, it's roasted or whatever, or it's chopped up, and you know it's
Yes.
nice, it's presentable in a proper way. She was just like, "Hi, Mbambaila, lenyama, it doesn't go on." I'm like, "No, it works."
Did you send a picture of what you were actually?
No, I didn't. We're just talking about it.
Yeah. So next time you go to a restaurant, go out for date night, and you have steak and sweet
I'll be
potato,
like,
send a
have
picture
sweet
and be like,
potato
what do
fries.
you- Yeah. Oh, I love
Got
sweet
my
potato
chips and
fries.
Mbambaila. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, no, you know, as a Zimbabwean, definitely didn't come up with that one. Next on the agenda, there was a clip that also. Hey, bro, Twitter was lit this week, bro. There was a lot going on this week. I was just thoroughly entertained. Let me see if I can even find the clip because I want you to hear it. I don't think you heard it. I'm gonna say one word and tell me if you know the clip that I'm talking about. That'll determine if I play it or not. Doggy style.
I did not see this clip.
No? Okay, right. Brace yourself. Playing it now.
I've done doggy position for 1 whole year. A big girl like me that love to fuck when she has a man. My sex drive is out of this room. I can do it 2, 3, 4 times a day with my man. I'm settling for back shots to the point where I felt like I was a dog. To the point where I'm going on my fucking knees. Every time he initiated that he wanted to have sex with me or he wants to try, the first position I'll go is on my knees. Missionary what?
Hectic.
Leg up in the air what? Ride what? So yeah, when I came out of that relationship, I done doggy position for 1 whole.
What?
So I don't know who this is. And obviously we've got the clip in the middle. So I don't have the full context. I'm pretty sure someone listening to this podcast has the full context. Kindly send it to us or explain on the TL when you're listening to the pod. But the pod, obviously the TL was on fire and people were reacting to the fact that for 1 year, dog, 1 year, 365, it was just doggy. Just
Nothing else.
Just doggy. Nothing else.
guys.
Bro. Nothing else. Nah, bro, niggas are demons, bro. What are you like? 1 year, dog. Like, and again, you know, there's Hans who, as Nat says, I love saying, calling Hans dizzy. You're really dizzy. That Hans is dizzy because, again, maybe I take that back because I don't have the full context. But from what I heard, that's dizzy behavior. But on the other side, I always look at gents who are able to do and finesse women this way, whether it's this doggy for 1 full year or, you know, or Tinder swindler, getting a woman to take out a loan for 20,000
Why would a guy
euros.
want that?
Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even here to explain that, but like the fact that you could successfully do it for a year, I mean, wow.
I feel sorry for that
I don't
guy.
even know where I would start to try and finesse that shit, bro. Like, I feel like that's, you know, there's some niggas who need to be in the Hall of Fame.
To finesse it for
They
one
need to
night
be
is
in the
work
future
enough.
Hall of Fame. Bruh. No. 1 night you can make it. Hey, bro. Like, listen, if you is doggy busting that, hey, it is what it is, right? You could finesse it. You could finesse it. But 1 year, dude. 1 year. Well, she said with you when it was time to go, you know, however they gave each other the look, or it was like, babe, I'm trying to fuck, or she says, babe, I'm trying to fuck. She was like, bro, I was on my knees. You know, straight to the knees. Ha! What a wow. I mean, honestly, some niggas belong in the Hall of Fame because how are you able to do this? You know, women have the same brains that men have. They're intelligent beings. So it's not like, you know, it's different if it's like, oh, you know, I made an animal do this. Yes, you're smarter than an animal. We're talking about a whole human being with the ability to think. And you still finesse them. Nah, guys. Nah. That's mad. I saw that and I was shocked. But also, yeah, as Ngi, bro. And the thing is, I've seen the clip. So it's not like this person is ugly or anything like that, right? Because not obviously the stereotype with guys is like, yo, guys, yo, bro.
I was about to say to the gals who are listening to this thing, if he always wants you to flatten and look the other way.
No, I mean, no, maybe she got the wagon, bro. Like, you know, those,
Nah,
you know, got the wagon.
nah.
You know.
Nah, I ain't
Says
buying
here
it.
to destroy self-confidence. What's wrong with you, man? You're trying to
No,
give
bruh.
people hope. You see?
Hope, yeah.
I'm the good one on the podcast, guys.
No, I'm
trying to destroy people's hope.
I'm literally just, dude, I'm being a realist, right? Every day,
What
Kutwa,
if
I don't want to see your
listener is
face.
getting raw dog every day, my guy, and you're busy telling us because she's ugly. Like,
Try don't want to see your face.
be
Personally, I've always said my weakness is a pretty face above everything else in the world, right?
I agree with
No,
that.
I my weakness is a pretty face. I'll always say, Uguti, it's that's the thing, dog. Like sometimes it's just nice to look at your person and be like, hey, the face. Everything else bonus, right? Mom does take 24/7, doesn't want to even look at you in the eyes.
No, but you know what, Senna? You know what? No, actually, in as much as for me, it's different, right? If I'm looking for someone on a long-term contract, right? My weakness is absolutely the face. I want to look at you and be like, oh my god, what a bullet. Like, that's what I'm looking for personally. Yeah, I want to have that feeling all the time. I don't ever look at you and be like, yo, you know, but at least she's wife material. Never, ever. I never want to be. I'm never going to be that guy. So for me, where I think is different. If we're thinking on a short-term basis, right? Senna, if it's off season and we're talking about our friendlies, I think you would let the face slide. If it's like, bro, the wagon is out of this world, it's like, all right, fine. This one time, I'll let it slip. Or, you know, it's like it's titties for days, like, or they just, it is whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, dudes are inclined to be like, all right, cool. I'm very curious about this particular asset of yours, so I will look the other way in terms of my normal requirements, and this is how Owens end up with grenades. Is it? Bro, there's a dude that we were clowning because Owen went and put away a grenade, and the justification was, but Owens, but yours, you saw the wagon, is it? And obviously he still got roasted, but plenty of Owens who have that type of justification. If we're talking about short-term contracts, long-term, that's a whole nother story. That's all. And until there's that whole look is in the phrase, where is that coming from? Say?
No, my thing is, right?
Hey, where is that coming from?
I always say, umuntu akumela sukume bambone, irrespective of what you think, right? Irrespective of ukuthi abantu bazothini, right? Sukume bambone, that's fine. But to subject umntana abantu to backshots for a whole year, hayi, noma sokuthiwa uyayithanda. Guys.
Oh my god. That was hilarious.
I'm being mean, but
Are you ready for the event? Hey, yo, Twitter was lit. That's all I can say.
Actually, it wasn't lit until that much this week. Gladly.
No, you should have been. It was going down, XA. So this one is a Siyazama / rundown brought to you by Panashe himself. So he said, Tabo, this needs to be on the pod, non-negotiable. So it's gonna be on the pod, non-negotiable. So this started a whole debate today. I'm sure if you checked today, you would have seen, because I quoted a few of these items. So I believe this is where Indabale started, right? If not, guys, correct me, but I think this is where it started. But quick question for you to kind of set the table, right? If you, okay, let me put it this way: two questions, right? Or in two different scenarios. Is it a deal breaker, right? If you've met a Han, right, and this is the first time that you guys are gonna smash, and that night, just before you smash, for the foreplay, you're removing her clothes, and you realize, Guti, the panties are torn. So the two scenarios are: is it a deal breaker for you if it's that first time that you're on the smashing, and then also let's fast forward to when you're out of the talking stage. So in Senna's book, you start realizing she wears torn underwear in month 7. In those two scenarios, how do you handle that?
Here's the thing, right? That most people may not want to hear. Everyone wants to think Uguti they'll take the high road and say no in those scenarios.
No what?
They'll say no to the person or to smashing.
Which is not a deal breaker.
It's not a deal breaker. They would like to make you believe what is not a deal breaker.
What?
Oh no! They'd want to make you believe it's a deal breaker. Sorry, online. So a lot of people would like to make you think, no, Mina, I'd never. Girls included would say, no, Mina, I'd never. It could never be me. Mina, you see me, you would never catch me doing any of those things, right? Sharp. I think more of us would just be like, oh, okay. Because once you're there, dog, you're there. Like you're there. So feel.
But afterwards. No. So I believe you go ahead with the deed. I believe 99% of people go ahead with the deed.
Okay.
But afterwards, what's your plan?
What do you mean, what's my plan, dog?
what's your reaction? Are you done with her? You never speak to her again, or are you? It doesn't matter. I will loop.
Afterwards, I am not likely to hit up that person again for any purposes because I'm just
Why?
like because I obvious. Let's not lie to why.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Month 7, you discover, hey, bruh, this is how this person is rolling. Then
why
what?
am I discovering at month 7? See, this is why you have.
I don't know. Like, again, just work with the scenarios.
This is why.
These
These are the things you'd see if your talking stage is 6 months. At some point, you'd have seen something along those lines. See, if your talking stage is 2 weeks, like Tabo suggests, there's a chance that things like this will slip through the cracks, and now you have to reconsider your position. I just had to throw that in there.
Wow.
But no, like for the most part, it's something that would definitely put me off. In the sense of ukuthi, oh, okay, so kunjalo la. You know,
Would you buy her new underwear?
if it's not, you can. Obviously, you can.
No, but would you? Would you buy her new underwear?
No, that can be offensive. You so buying is not the solution. The solution is to communicate with the person and be like, my guy can't come and chandla.
But you know it's peak, is it? Like, what do you mean? What conversation used to be there, bro? If you Adam's showing up with torn panties. I mean, I feel like again, guys, we're gonna get to that thread for more context. But in my humble opinion, if you show up to our first sneaky link, our first item, the inaugural item, you know, number 1, and your items are torn, that's it for me, right? That's literally it for me. Yes, obviously, man's gonna bust a nut, but after that, when that post-nut clarity hits, never again, ever, because at that point, it's like, you don't rate me. That's disrespectful to me. Let's not even talk about to yourself or whatever, because we don't know what that person's personal situation is, right? But that's disrespectful to me. How you're telling me you couldn't find one good item, bruh. You know, like and day 1 you show up with the what more, bruh, when you're not comfortable in the relationship. What more? You know what I mean? Like it just again, first impressions are everything. That's just the truth. You know, if you show up and it's your first night with a guy and it's, you know, matching items, that's an impression. Whether you like it or not, that's a good impression that you're gonna make. Nigga, oh, okay. What's it as? You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. You know, we're human beings. So if you show up and it's a Daugan item, bruh.
No, of course, my perception of you might be different.
You've been pushing this item for years. Maybe it's not drink, but you've been pushing the same item for years.
I'm gonna ask you
and it's like,
something important. Sam is, you're married now, so I can't ask you these weird things. It's fine.
What's your question?
Okay, so when you went on your
or texted.
No, let me just ask it here. My phone's far. When you went on your first date with your person, it may not have been dated, may have been, I don't know, whatever. Is there like a pair of briefs that you have where you're like, yeah, these are my intentional items? Like,
yeah, absolutely. No. You we're like kids, bruh. Like at the end of the day, if you're like, right, you know, there's two levels to this, right? There's your fit, where if it's a date, and we weren't dating at the time, but we went out on a date, right? But there's your fit, your outfit, where you're like, right, I'm trying to woo this girl, so this is my item. I need to look good. So it could the sneakers, the jeans, the t-shirt, or the shirt, or whatever. There's, you know, yeah, Sunday best, yeah, Sunday best. And then if it's one of those things where you're like, you know what, me and this person are probably gonna smash tonight. If you know that's on the cards, yeah, or possibly on the cards, then absolutely you make sure that, you know, if you're the type of dude that's shaving, you know, Manscaped, girls in skies. You know, you get your Manscaped on.
We need to talk
you make
about
sure the
that.
hedges are trimmed and everything's good, right? And then the boxers, I'm picking the freshest one, the newest one, you know, like that one where it's like, you know, even when you take off your shirts and your trousers, you look good in the eye. You know what I mean? Like, because again, first impressions matter. I'm not bringing a Jujugat item, dog. Yes, we all have the Jujugat items in our closets, right? We all have the ones that we need to throw away at some point. Absolutely. But, you know, respect yourself. Auntie Nat was saying, guys, let's bring back shame. You can't. There's no way.
Bring
There's
back
no way
Inhloni.
you can be out here. Bring back Inhloni. Hashtag bring back Inhloni. Because, you know, I'm going to make sure, first time, I'm going to make sure that I know she's like, nah. My man's was on one. Because it sets the tone and it sets a proper tone. But if you come in and I'm seeing your item is bogogat, bruh, like you see Chichikala, this item was black, but now so
Okay, my question is, why do you own Bobogat things in general, like as a person, like now no, like to be honest, because when I wake up, you're saying don't wear the Bobogat items to the date. I'm just saying, why do you own them, right?
No, because sometimes they're just you're too lazy. I'm one of those people, too lazy to throw it away. So like literally, it's just sitting in my closet,
Alright.
and at some point, I'm gonna throw them away, right? So I won't rock them, but at some
Yeah,
point,
so
it's
never
like,
rock
yeah,
them.
Okay, yeah, you won't rock them, but they could be. My point is, people could have them sitting in the closet, but I haven't worn this in weeks,
Yeah.
type of thing. Or people,
Do you know what, 'cause-
and I think I also have a phobia of like I could never wear a boxer at Dabogileo. Because it's like, I don't know how this would happen, but what if I wind up in a situation where I now have to kulula my jeans? You know,
Nah, that's my
always
child.
my fear. That's always my
And
fear. What happens? You know, someone says sneaky
And it
link,
ex-
and then
for
it's
me-
like, bruh.
For me, it extends to Shem. For me, it even extends to like socks when I'm at home, right? Like I can't just chill in isn't this double gileo just because I'm home. I know like a lot of you do it just because you're at home. You think no one will see you.
Yeah, bougie.
No, guy. Literally, here's the thing, right? Ungaquleka lapha, and people have to take you to the hospital, right? Next thing they get there, they remove your shoes. Nankama socks. There's a scalar there by the big toe. Nako your briefs. There's a scalar here by the back. The thing is, you're not even conscious enough to go to the bathroom and say, guys, can I go change? Because you're knocked out. We are gonna or whatever. Right? Or maybe you decide, let me just go to the shops quickly in your Dabugat socks and your Dabugat briefs. And then you get into an accident. ER guys come, they kumula your item. They're like, chief, this one is difficult. So even when I'm chilling at home, I'm always like, even like my home clothes that I wouldn't wear elsewhere, I must just have that. Okay, yazi, in pride in myself, mina lami as a person, ngingedwa. Like obviously, it's not going to be the best fit. It might just be random, not coordinated, weird colors.
Yeah,
But it's not something that would bring shame to me. If a visitor walks in, right, I'm still dressed okay to not have to change.
but you know, now that you've spoken about socks, there was once a time I took a major L, bro. Major L. Many years.
I think you told me this
Flew,
once.
man's was on a flight from Mies to SA to Joburg, and I was just like, you know what? I couldn't find my socks, so I just picked, when you're home, there's your old clothes, like you haven't touched them for years, but like again, no one comes into your bedroom, so your bedroom is whatever it was 10 years ago, right? So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Let me just put on these socks. And I didn't realize because it was under, like where the sole is, right? And it was like just under the toe. You know where that where your big toe is, but if you slide down, there's that that lokuzen. Yeah, that's where it was. So I didn't really realize these items were torn like that. And then obviously sometimes depending on the type of shoe that you wear, your socks will move around a little bit, and get to the airport. And then I, checked in, okay, sharp, I go to customs, stamp the passport, then I get to the scanning, lokuzin. The lady goes, right, shoes off. I'm like, all right, cool. Take off one shoe, sharp, put it in the basket. Take off the second shoe. The sock is now moved. My big toe is essentially sticking out. And there was a cute girl there that I had been making eye contact with. She clocked, and she ain't look at a nigga after that.
She was like, nah, fam.
She was like,
So
nah.
good.
It was done. That was probably one of the top 5 L's I've taken in my life. Where I was like, again,
Do you see why
I
it's
thought
important?
I could get away with
Even
it,
when you're by yourself.
and it's nah, you can't do that. So no, guys, Bogat panties, Bogat socks, it's unacceptable. I think it's you show up to a date and you're looking scruffy, bro. Like anyway, Mr. Moore, let's get into the actual thread of it, and then you give me your opinion. So she says this guy and I started dating 2 weeks after we decided he'll come and visit for the weekend. Upon his arrival, I took my bag to his bedroom, leaving him in the TV room. I don't know what told me to go through his stuff, but what I saw still shocks me to this day. And what I did was wrong. I guess I should have sat down with him and tried to understand. His toothbrush looked like it had been working for the past 6 years. Some of his boxes were torn, and I don't even want to mention the bath towel. Hey, bruh, Adam looks like a skoropo. I at the same time told him that I had something just came up and I needed to drive to Limpopo that same Friday night. He left. I blocked him on I blocked him on every social media platform. It's been a week now, and I can finally talk about it. That's the story.
Wait, was this guy going through things?
I don't know, Doc, but this is an L. This is an L for the gender.
Oh, shame, what a difficult. But you guys, you must change your toothbrushes every 3 months, eh? Like, it's important. But
I mean,
anyways,
shout out. My wife does that all. Like, she will randomly just buy new toothbrushes every 2 to 3 months, and because I just don't. But literally, boom, she'll like, we've been using this one for too long. Out. And it's like, but I liked that one. And then she'll bought a new one, and it's like, now you have to adjust again to this new toothbrush. It's like, it's an inconvenience, but I get it. But shout out to her for keeping it keeping us on rotation. But 6 years though. Have you seen those I'm a toothbrush Lana, where it's like the bristles are now, they look like a white boy's hair when it flows to the side.
yeah. So now it's like the middle, like there's no middle anymore. Like parts down the center, like the river now.
Exactly, that one. Where it's like, they're now polishing shoes with the iron.
So wait, what was wrong with the guy? So was he going through things? Because there's no excuse for
She didn't put that context.
No,
She just said, "Uti."
Look,
know,
without context, then no, you can't. I understand why she blocked him and left, because you don't want to be dragged into someone who doesn't have self-respect for themselves to that extent.
Do you think it's classism?
No. I think there comes a point where it's not classism. It's just like guy, like ma wena ungazithandi yourself, mina uzangithanda njani. It's like, if you can't love yourself, how will you love me? Like, you can't take care of the basic things around you, like dude, get a new toothbrush, get a new towel, get new briefs. Now I must come into your space and expect you to treat me with any kind of care and regard. Nah.
I think I agree with that.
I don't think that could fly.
I definitely agree with where you're coming from. I think, if the person doesn't look like they are organized, or like what, hygiene is sharp and all this other stuff, then it's like, bruh, if you can't even get your own life in order, how can I expect you to be an asset to mine? So, okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, a lot of people had split opinions over this whole thing, and but I think Usawelo even said it's like it started the whole Lokuzen. I think Sabelo said it was classism. I can't remember. I'll look for one of his tweets where he was saying, you guys are just, it's classism politics. You guys would be raw dogged with someone who is torn underwear, regardless.
Don't get me wrong, they would. They definitely would. Is someone, I think, who makes a decision to then stay in that space where I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like to stay
Yeah.
full time with someone like that, I think that, nah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But anyway, Mr. Moy, I think that is real quick. Mbappe's contract. You wanted to touch on that, or do you want more time to really get into it?
Look, I think me and you share different opinions about this. I think it's absurd. I think it will seek to ruin football. I don't think a player deserves. I think it's rumored to be £1 million a week. £1 million a week. I don't think that's something that should be allowed, mainly because football can't afford it.
No, but okay.
PSG.
So hold on. See, City £1 million a week. I mean, but they don't get paid. How many months do they get paid for per contract?
So it depends on the length of the contract you sign, right?
No. So if it's a 1 year so per year, you're multiplying by how many months?
By the number of weeks in a year. So it's probably about 52 million.
Are you sure? Because I thought
something like
they
that.
got paid according to the season. So if the season is 8 months long, you're not getting paid for off-season time. Or
No,
you're saying
they-
KTS in the summer, they're still getting wages.
They get paid even off season.
Okay,
Because
so that's 4
during
million
off season, remember, they're still expected to
month.
come in and train and
Okay, so 4 million a month, right? Is what he's
Basically.
making, which is 48 million a year. And I think last I checked, Ronaldo and Messi. No, not Ronaldo, but Messi was at something around, the high 30s, early 40s. So he got 10 million more than Messi. I don't think that's ruining football.
Messi's about 600k. No, even that was
per week.
like. Remember the reason why Messi left Barcelona? It's not because he wanted to. Because Barca got themselves to a point where they had increased his wages to an extent where they couldn't afford him. And then then because financially La Liga was like, my guy, you guys are running at a loss. This doesn't make sense. They're like, nah, you can't register Messi.
But at the end of the day, Senna, I don't think football works in a way that, like, just because if Barcelona paid him, let's say $1 million a week, right? Let's say those were his wages. It doesn't mean that if he chooses to go to his boyhood club back in Argentina, for example, they're not going to match the salary. Obviously, he's going to be making a fraction of what he made at Barcelona. So I think if a player is moving clubs, and this is why I say it's not ruining football, because the player has the option. If I want to play for Everton or if I want to play for Marseille, there's no way they will afford my wages. But if I really want to play for them, then I'll take whatever I can get and keep it moving. So I don't think
what follows, unfortunately, is this. Neymar goes for 240 million, right? And then Messi is then given 600k a week. Mbappe is then given $1 million a week. Then what happens is, Idrissa Gueye is just a random example, right? He's at PSG. He sees Mbappe is earning 100k. I share the dressing room with this guy. He's earning $1 million. Can I get to that? Right? And say PSG, they were like, oh, you won't get $1 million, but we'll meet you somewhere in the middle, right? So in general, wages become inflated, right? To an extent where who are the only teams that can afford it, right? So it's PSG, Man City. I'm not sure about Chelsea now. United wouldn't be able to afford it.
They can afford it. You're the only club in England that can afford it besides City.
Could, but they wouldn't, right? Because United only spend what they make, unfortunately. So even our transfer record is, I think, still Pogba, which is 89 million, and then Maguire 80, Sancho 78. But then when Grealish becomes available and you want to buy him, and then Aston Villa go 100 million because why? Neymar went for 200. They're like, who can afford him, right? Only Man City or PSG. then you create an environment where the only clubs that can afford the best talent are clubs where state money is being used to acquire those players.
So what happens? So then, what happens if Villa's trying to sell Jack Grealish, but City's not interested, and PSG is not interested? They're gonna have to sell to someone, which means that price tag is going to come down, right? If City is interested, obviously yes, it's a no-brainer. City will outbid anyone. But then, if City says we're not interested in this player, then Aston Villa wants the money, they'll sell for 70.
What it means is that City can outbid anyone, which is where financial fair play becomes important, right? Because it's a sport, right? Because ultimately, you're basically saying, no, this player is not for sale unless Man City buy him.
But again, it's still the reality of all the leagues. Like the top 6 in England right now can way overspend over the rest of the clubs, right? Brentford will never be in the hunt for Jack Grealish or Declan Rice or Mason Mount or whoever. They'll never be in the running.
But then let the money be money that football is making, right? In that way, then you know that, okay, one, it ensures that other teams can compete for the player's signature and the player has an option of where to go, which is one. Two, it also ensures that clubs don't go bust. Because I can tell you now, if another situation like Roman happens elsewhere, where Abramovich happened, you guys are lucky someone actually came and said, hey, I'm willing to put in a bid now for Chelsea. And Abramovich was forced, I won't say you guys were lucky enough, but he was forced to give up the loans that he'd been giving Chelsea all these years. Imagine if he said, I want my loans paid back.
Yeah.
You guys would be in a real tight spot because Chelsea doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
It was money that came from an external third party who may be state backed or oil backed, whatever it was, right? Then the club could very easily go bust. And that's how football clubs get ruined. That's how you no longer have competition for players. That's how the wage structure in football in general goes bust. PSG are trying to get rid of Neymar now. No one can afford him. Like, Neymar's a talented player, but he's not worth the money that PSG put him on. So now they're stuck with him. Literally, you can't do anything until his contract lapses.
Has he got left?
I think he's got 2 more years.
Late. Yeah, I know. At that point, obviously, he's not going to agree to player terms if they're trying to sell him to someone else, if they're not going to match the wages. And like you said, yeah, in the Neymar situation, absolutely. If PSG have shot themselves in the foot, right? But let's assume this was Neymar's last year and he was going on a free. PSG is not renewing the contract. If he wants to play football, his wages would have to go down regardless. Still.
Who would want to take a pay cut?
No, he has no choice. If your employers are all saying, hey, our market cap is this, then you have to take a pay cut, period. Unless you're saying, no, I'm not going to play Bora. Then obviously that's his only other choice. Because PSG is not going to renew on the same money.
It becomes difficult, though, I think you must admit, for then players to then have to take these cuts after someone's put them on a huge ass contract.
I mean, not really, because obviously as you get older, you make the bulk of your money in your prime, but then look at the money that Thiago Silva is making at Chelsea now compared to what he would have been making in his prime. I'm pretty sure he was making more money in his prime than what he makes at Chelsea, right? Because you're older, you have less value, therefore you make less, you're worth less, right? So like it's standard in sports at the end of the day. So yeah, obviously the likes of Mbappe, the Mbappes of the world, yeah, you make your money right now. He's in prime money making era. But at some point his value will start to decline and he will not be able to command those same wages. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think you're right, I'm right as well, in the sense that, yes, it'll equalize in the end, but you're right in that in the immediate, you're only talking about 2.5 realistic players for the top 3 players in the world or the top 5 players in the world. whenever they become available. It's, you know, and Newcastle, I guess. So yeah, 3.5 players, because Newcastle will
It
have that money.
becomes
You know,
it's difficult to compete. It's difficult to compete.
Neymar will go to Newcastle. Actually, Newcastle should do that. They should do that. If PSG is trying to get
I
rid
don't
of him,
think he'll go unless he does a
obviously he
Robinho.
wouldn't go.
Like Robinho went to Man City. That was a very, very strange transfer. That started the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
maybe. You never know. You never know. Because, I mean, I think it's going to be the City formula for Newcastle. And if they land Neymar, hey, bruh, like, it would be dope. Did you hear Peter Drury is leaving the Prem? He's going to call
so
the games
sad.
for NBC.
I was so sad. And that's just because probably the Americans offered a shitload of money. Same thing they did to John Champion a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nah, there's money in America, fam. Like if a sport is booming, and again football is booming in America, it's growing. You know, America has the bag. Unfortunately, America has, and if like the MLS were to take off and suddenly become one of the most watched leagues to the point of NBA or NFL, trust me, the Premier League would be scattered. I tell you, European football in general. Our PSG City now, they would have nothing on the MLS. All the best players would just go straight to America. You know, I hope I'm alive to see that happen. Actually, that would be very. I'd love to see that play out. You know, if the MLS took off and everyone now wanted to play in America, then the way right now, if you're an aspiring footballer, where do you want to play? Then Europe.
Europe, England.
Period. Everyone wants to play in Europe, no matter what.
And look, I think
if it became America, it would be very interesting.
and I do think the Super League, in as much as I don't agree with it from how they were implementing it, ultimately they were looking at the American thing where big teams play each other all the time and no one gets tired.
Yeah.
There's this thing in England where we're like, oh no, like even with the World Cup, right? FIFA starting to see that World Cup every 4 years doesn't make sense.
It's long.
4 years is a long time. If you can make it
Yeah.
every 2 years or every year even, no, not every year, but every 2 years,
Nah. Yeah, every 2 years is fine.
that could work. There's no benefit in having it every 4 years. Yes, it's tradition. Yes, it's the way it's always been done. But it's the grander stage of all. It's your one money-making competition. People want to see the best players play the best all the time. Like, there's some benefit in seeing Man United play Bournemouth and Palace and all these guys, and you develop football, and that's how you get to see other players from lower leagues actually make it.
But the bulk of fans, they don't give a. They're not watching that. You're not watching those.
Yeah, you know, the bulk of fans. I'm not about to watch Chelsea versus Palace. I'm not a Chelsea fan. I'm not a Palace fan.
Yeah.
There's no interest in me.
Yeah.
Chelsea versus Madrid. Definitely watch
You
that.
watch that. Yeah. No, I mean absolutely. If you want a masterclass in how to secure a bag, you know, America knows how to secure a bag. That's just facts. You know, F1 profits are booming because of America right now. So you know, those that's just how it is. You know, America knows how to hype shit and how to make money, and I think Europe is catching up. But then there's a lot of like you said, the history, tradition. You know, that's what bogs down Europe at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's like they're shy. It's like, you know, that someone who wants to be a thought, but they my whole training. You know,
I'm
like, nah,
shy.
bruh. Pass it down, Tatiana. You know, like if you want to twerk, dog. Ungayenzi ngama-angle, you know, be you. But anyway, Mr. Moyo, I think asivale lapho. It's been a good one. I think we've had a healthy spectrum of chats today. I think, you know, everyone should be happy with this one. You know, you got something that you would have thoroughly enjoyed at some point in these last essentially 2 hours. Big episode next week. Big one. Senna, you know who I'm talking about. We had to reschedule. But, you know, man's gonna be in the building. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Well, do you think I should reveal or keep it a secret?
Now we'll keep this one for the next week. The people then will wait.
People will wait. All right, cool. Cool. All good. Guys, as you know, like the thing, subscribe to the thing, retweet. Retweet the thing, or else we are inclined to believe you are a hater. Mr. Moore.
Latest.